ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। शुक्लां वरदरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां हितये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। अपार करुणा सिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणं श्रीचन्द्रशेखरेन्द्र गुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वहं। सद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। The Shishya has put forth 7 questions to the Acharya. What is bondage? How does the bondage arise? How does it exist? How to get rid of the bondage? That is the very important question. And what is anatma? What is atma? How to discriminate between atma and anatma? These are the 7 questions put forth by the student, and Acharya has started answering those questions in a particular order so that the learning process becomes very effective and efficient. First, the Acharya has answered what is Atma, and he said what is Anatma. What is Atma? What is the real nature of the self? And what is Anatma? What are all the things that those are not self, non-self, self and non-self? Acharya has answered. And in last class we saw what is bondage. Ko nama bandhaha. If we are Akhanda Satchidananda Atma, then why do we long for Mukti? Mukti is a Purushartha. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are the 4 Purusharthas of human life. The human being can be a Hindu, he can be of any religion, but all the religion, even if he is an atheist, everybody wants Mukti, because Mukti is freedom. It can be freedom from anything. Our body has got a limitation, so we want freedom from the body. It means we want to overcome the deficiencies of our body. That's what everybody wants. It is not only Hindus, those long for mukti, but everybody wants mukti. That is why the whole, the field of medicine comes because people want to overcome the limitations of our body. If a person is 60-year-old, 70 years old, their teeth will start to fall off, right? That is a limitation of their body. And what do we want to do? We want to have artificial teeth so that we can enjoy murukku, seedai, adarsam, etc. Bhagavan has created the event of teeth falling off, because with age our digestive capacity will decrease. So Bhagavan says, hey, you are 70 years old, you won't have digesting capacity to digest muruku, seedai, etc. That is why I'm taking off your teeth, so that you cannot even eat it in the first place. But we think that as a limitation of the body. And then what do we want? We want, even with that artificial teeth, we will eat muruku, seedai, etc. That will eventually lead to cholesterol and diabetes, etc. So, what I wanted to convey was mukti is a purushartha. It is common for all the beings. That is what here is called as bondage. It doesn't matter whether you are a Hindu, it doesn't matter whether you are a Christian or Muslim, it doesn't matter whether you are an theist or atheist or agnostic. Everybody wants mukti, that is They want to overcome the limitations of the body. People want to extend their lifetime. If we see all the scientific advancements, people want to download their brain onto a computer chip, because the brain has got a limited timeline. Brain has got a date of birth. The brain will also stop functioning after certain time. They want to download, research are being done to download all the data from the brain to a computer chip, so that the computer chip can live forever. So that is their concept of mukti. So I mean, that we want mukti, that we want to overcome bondage, is common for all the living being. But how we can overcome the bondage is different for different people. For some people, going to Swargaloka, that is freedom from bondage. For some people, going to heaven, that is freedom from bondage. For some people, downloading all their data onto a computer chip, that is freedom from bondage. But for Vedantis, understanding our original nature itself is freedom from bondage. That is what we are going to see, how to get rid of a bondage. We will see that later. But that we want to be free is common for all the living being. So everybody acknowledges that there is a bondage. So, what is the bondage according to Vedanta? That is what Acharya is saying. Atra anatmani aham iti matirbandha. Atra anatmani aham iti matihi bandha. Bandha, bondage, is misidentification of one's own self as anatma. Misidentification of one's own self as their body, because body is anatma. We don't misidentify ourselves with a computer. We don't misidentify ourselves with our cell phone, because it is very clear that we are different from the computer, we are different from the cell phone, we are different from the glass of water that is present in front of us. But where do we make mistake? We misidentify ourselves as this body because of our avidya. All the people who comes to Vedanta have lived with their body for a very significant amount of time, even in this janma. Median age of Vedantic student is very, very higher. So even in this janma, we have spent decades and decades and decades misidentifying ourselves with this body. But that is only within this janma. We also have got infinite janmas before us. We have taken a lot of janmas, and in all those janmas, we always had dehabhimanam. Misidentification of ourselves is called as dehabhimanam. We have always misidentified ourselves as this body. As if you were a cow, you will have abhimana with the cow body. If you were a small fish, you will have abhimana with the fish body. If you were a mosquito, you would have had abhimana with the mosquito body. But that you had a dehabhimana was certain for all of us. That is why we have this janma. But that, that is what is called as bondage. Deha abhimana. Now, the next question comes. I am Atma, but I have misidentified myself as my body. What caused that? If I am a doctor, and if I, if I am a normal person, and then if I act as a doctor, I make that decision. If I am a free person, if the government puts me into a jail, The policeman has done that. Somebody has actively working for blocking my freedom, right? But what caused the bondage? How does the bondage arise? Especially if I am an Atma, if somebody is a great king, he doesn't want to become a beggar, right? In the same way, our Atma Swarupam is like great king. We are the embodiment of security, we are the embodiment of peace, we are the embodiment of happiness. Then why would I think that I am this Dehi, or I am this Jiva, I am this limited Jiva, going from, thinking of, if I am a beggar, I can imagine myself to be a king. That is very, very normal. If I don't have money, if I am a poor person, I can imagine myself as a rich person. If I don't have good health, I can imagine myself as a very hale and healthy person. That is logical. But if I am a king, why would I misidentify myself as a beggar? If I am a wealthy person, why would I misidentify myself as a poor person? If I am a healthy person, why would I voluntarily misidentify as a patient? That is what the question that Acharya is going to answer. How does the bondage arise? What causes the bondage? If I am the Satchidananda Atma, if I am the Sakshi, if I am the Avasthatraya Sakshi, why do I have this Dehabhimanam? Because only if I know why does the bondage arise, I can find a cure for bondage. Noi nadi, noi mudal nadi, அது தணிக்கும் வாய் நாடி வாய்ப்பச்செயல், says Thiruvalluvar in Tirukkural. First, you have to identify the disease. First, you have to acknowledge that you have a disease that is called as noi nadi. Second, you need to identify the root cause of the disease that is called as noi mudal nadi. Third, you have to find the cure for the root cause. அது தணிக்கும் வாய் நாடி வாய்ப்பச்செயல். In the same way, we all have identified, we all have acknowledged that we have a problem called as samsara, called as bandha. Now, we need to identify noi mudal nadi, noi mudal. We need to identify what causes the bondage in the first place. Only then you can find the cure for the disease of samsara. That is what Acharya is going to explain as the answer for the next question. Katham yesha agataha. How does the bondage arise? We have seen this before. That is why Viveka Chudamani is a very logical text. Acharya will introduce the appropriate topics at the appropriate time, so that the entire teaching flows very, 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 very logically. If we take Upanishads, because it is teaching to one particular student, Upanishad will always be teaching. One person will be the teacher, one person will be the student, and the teaching is tailor made. So the student will already have got a certain level of understanding. So if we see many Upanishads, there will be lot of concepts here and there, but it won't progress in a very logical manner, at least for beginners like us. We are all beginners in this, we are all beginners, in the study of Vedanta. So if we directly go read Upanishads, some of it would not make sense for our limited brain, because it is not for a general audience. But texts like Viveka Chudamani, Tattva Bodha, all these Prakarana Granthas, Acharyas had a very common audience. He had a very general audience in his mind, and he would introduce appropriate topic at the appropriate place, so that we don't have to go back, we don't have to refer any new texts, etc. And we have already seen this concept of Maya. Ya ma. That which does not exist is called as Maya. And that Maya has got two power. That Maya has got an Avarana Shakti, and that Maya has got a Vikshepa Shakti. All these things we have seen under the topic of Karana Sharira. When we were seeing Sharira Trayam, Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, Karana Sharira, before or after Karana Sharira, we have seen what is Maya and what are the two powers of Maya. That is what Acharya is going to say is the cause of our bondage. The Avarana Shakti is called as the power of wheeling. The power of concealment is called as Avaranam. Avaranam literally means a cover. You know, we have a compound wall surrounding our house, right? That is an Avaranam. It is a cover. It veils, it conceals something. Maya, in the same way, conceals the Atma. That is why that power is called as Avarana Shakti of Maya. But Maya also has got another Shakti called as Vikshepa Shakti. There is a typo here. It is Vikshepa. Vikshepa means power of projection. You know, just for, just imagine this for some time. You have a beautiful painting in your wall and you want to project a movie. You cannot project a movie onto a painting, right? You need to have a white cloth. So you would put a white cloth in front of the painting so that a movie can be projected. So that white cloth is the avaranam of the painting. The white cloth covers the painting. And there is a Vikshepa Shakti, there is a projection that comes from a projector. So that for a person sitting on that couch, for the person who sees the movie, he will not see the painting, but he will see the movie that is projected onto the white canvas, right? So, in the same way, but in the case of Maya, everything is performed by Maya itself. Maya itself is the white cloth, Maya itself is the projector, and Maya itself is the movie that is being projected. So that is the problem with Maya. Maya is really jack of all trades. Okay. So Maya has got two Shaktis called as Avarana Shakti and Vikshepa Shakti. Acharya is going to say it is because of these two Shaktis you have a bondage. That is what Acharya is going to say in these shlokas. First, he is going to talk about the Avarana Shakti, the wheeling power, the power of concealment of Maya. Akhanda, Nitya, Advaya, Bodha Shaktya, Spurantam, Atmanam, Ananta Vaibhavam. अखंड नित्याद्वयबोध शक्त्या स्फुरन्तमात्मानमनन्तवैभवं समावृणोति आवृति शक्तिरेषा तमोमयी राहुः इवार्कबिम्बं समावृणोत्यावृति शक्तिरेषा तमोमयी राहुरिवार्कबिम्बं. So the whole shloka goes like this. Akhanda nitya bodha shaktya spurantamatmanam vaibhavam samavrunotyavriti shaktiresha tamomayi rahurivarkabimbam. In the first two lines, Acharya is reminding the student of his own real nature, because we have seen Atma as the first answer, right? And we have seen Atma, we have seen Anatma, we have seen bondage. After that, we have already seen answers for the two questions, two more questions. So by this time, the student might have forgotten what is the real nature of Atma. Here, Acharya reminds the student, hey student, this is your real nature. Akhanda. Nitya, Advaya, Bodha Shaktya, Spurantam Atmanam Ananta Vaibhavam. Hey Sishya, the real nature of you, the real nature of Atman. Whenever I say Atman, we have to own up that Atman. It is not some X or Y or Z I am talking about. I am talking about my own nature. That is what we have to remember. Akhanda, Atma is Akhanda. Atma is present everywhere. There is no piece, parts and pieces of Atma. If we have a gold block can be divided into many pieces. Khandam means pieces, cutting into pieces, right? Akhandam, Atma, because it encompasses everything, including the knife. Atma cannot be cut into pieces. Akhanda, Nitya, Nitya, Atma is ever existent. Atma does not have a date of birth. Atma does not have a date of expiry. Remember, all these words have got a meaning. I mean, there is a reason why Acharya is putting all these words here, because all these are answers to our problems. We think we are going to die. We think we are our body, and our body can be cut. Somebody is cutting vegetables and they will cut their body, and they think they got cut, but it is their body which got cut. Atman can never be cut. Akhanda, that is why Acharya is putting that word akhanda here. Next, Nitya. What is Nitya? The greatest fear of human beings is mortality. Everybody fears, for that day. Everybody dreads for that day. And Acharya says, no, 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 no. You are not Anitya Vastu. You are not something which comes and goes away. You are ever present. You are Nitya. Next, Advaya Bodha Shaktya. You are Advaya. Advaya means you are one without the second person. Why does Acharya puts that here? Because we having a body consciousness, having deha buddhi, we want to more people to support us. We want our parents, we want our relatives, we want our wives, husbands, sons, daughters, daughter-in-laws, parents, petis. We want a whole web of people thinking that they are going to support us, because we limit ourselves as a body. We misidentify ourselves with the body, and just for the sake of security, peace and happiness of our body, we want all the people to support us. And if somebody does not do their duty, we get emotional. If my son doesn't come to visit me, I get emotional. If my daughter doesn't respect me, I get emotional. If my friend, even in work, I thought this person will support me for my promotion, but that person is not supporting me. All those problems arise because there are many entities surrounding us, and we identify ourselves with one of those entities. That is why Acharya puts here, you are Advaya, he Sishya. You don't have any second person. Dvitiyadvai bhayam bhavati, says Upanishad. If there is a second thing, that will cause you bhayam, because that is going to limit you. That is going to cause you a limitation. That is why Acharya says, hey Sishya, you are Akhanda, you are Nitya, you are Advaya, you are Bodha Shaktya, you have Ananta Vaibhavam. Vibhu means omnipresent, that is called as Vibhu. We normally think ourselves as located at a particular space. located at a particular time. But Acharya says, no, 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 no. You have Ananta Vaibhavam. You have unlimited omnipresence. All these things are solutions to our problems. We think we have all these limitations, but Acharya reminds us here that, hey, no, 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 you are Akhanda. You don't have to worry about causing any harm to your body. You are Nitya. You don't have to worry about your death. You are Advaya. There is no second entity. You are the provider of support to yourself. You are Bodha Shaktya. You are Atmanam Ananta Vaibhavam. But that is, here is where the actual answer for the question comes. However, even though you are all of that, you identify with your body because samavrunoti avriti shaktiresha tamomayi rahurivarka bimbam. Avriti, avaranam, concealment, because of the tamomayi, because of the tamoguna, because of the avarana shakti of maya. Yesha here means maya. Because of the avarana shakti of maya, you become deluded. You do not know your own real nature, says Acharya. Here he gives a very beautiful example. Rahu Rivarka Bimbam. Rahu Iva Arka Bimbam. Arka means Suryan. Rahu, we know what is the relationship between Rahu and the sun. Rahu will eclipse the sun. Rahu is called as Chaya Graham. Chaya means shadow. In fact, Rahu and Kedu are shadows of earth and the moon. Rahu Rivarka Bimbam. Just like how Rahu eclipses the sun. Rahu does not cover the sun fully, but from the standpoint of earth, it looks as though Rahu covers the sun. In fact, sun is present there. Sun's light is always on. But because of the shadow, it looks as though the sun is covered. In fact, the shadow cannot even cover the entire sun. The shadow is like a small speck. But from the standpoint of earth, sun looks as though it is covered. It is a very beautiful example, because we can get a lot of things from this example. Both earth and the moon, they derive their existence only from the sun. If sun is not there, earth cannot revolve. Earth will be there, but it won't have all these things. Earth will go somewhere else. Moon is present in the position because of the gravitational pull from the sun and from the earth is present in the position because of the gravitational pull from the sun. So sun is very, very important for the presence of both earth and the moon. What causes the shadow of the moon? Because eclipse is caused when the moon's shadow coincides with the sun, right? What causes the shadow of the moon? It is the sunlight, because of which moon has a shadow. Now, if we think about shadow, you need to have a light. In darkness, there won't be any shadow. We will have shadow only if some light is present. In darkness, everywhere it is going to be dark. So we need to have some light source even in order to have a shadow. And the shadow of the moon, which eclipses the sun, depends upon the sun for its existence. Earth needs sun for its existence. Moon needs sun for its existence. The shadow of the moon needs sun for its existence. And if we want to see the eclipse, there need to be sun needs to be present. If the eclipse happens in the night, we cannot see the eclipse because everywhere it is going to be dark. Only if we have some light surrounding the darkness, we can even see the eclipse. So sun is the real entity which causes everything, but in the process of the eclipse, it is sun that appears to be disappeared. It is a very interesting thing to do meditation upon. Sun is very essential for the earth. Sun is very essential for the moon. Sun is essential for the shadow that is cast by the moon. Sun is essential in order to observe the eclipse, but in the process of the eclipse, it is the sun that gets disappeared. In the same way, Atma is Atma should be present. Atma is the basis for Maya. Atma is the basis for our Shariram. But in the process of that, in the process of creation, Atma as though disappears. That is called as Avarana Shakti. Because we don't understand what is Atma. Even though we are Atma, when we talk about Atma, please do not think that we can see the Atma. It is all, conceptual in nature. In the process of creation, even though Atma has to be present for the creation to happen, even though Atma is the basis, Atma is the substratum, Atma lends the existence for the creation. But because of the creation, in the process of creation, Atma as though disappears in because of the Avriti Shakti, because of the Avarana Shakti of Maya. That is only one part of the story. In fact, Adi Shankaracharya has written a beautiful shlokam called as Dakshinamurti Stotram. Tomorrow is Shivaratri. If you guys find time, please read this Dakshinamurti Stotram. Even though it is for Dakshinamurti, it is filled with the concepts of Vedanta. This is the beauty of Adi Shankaracharya. Even when he writes any stotra granthas, even when he writes any bhakti granthas, he will hide Vedantic concepts onto all those things. Just like how we hide medicine onto a banana and then feed to people. If people have got fear of, if a dog doesn't eat medicine, we will hide medicine onto the food and then the dog will eat, right? In the same way, Acharya will put capsules of Vedanta into all his Stotra Granthas. Just by reading those Stotra Granthas, the Vedantic concepts will go inside. He says, Rahugrasta Divakarendu Sadrusho Maya Samachhadanat Sanmatra Karanopasamharanato Yobhut Sushuptah Puman Pragaswap Samiti Prabodha Samaye Yah Pratyabhignayate Tasmai Shri Gurumurtaye Namayidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Just like a person, when he finds, when he sees dreams, he won't understand that he is dreaming. When we are dreaming, the main problem is we don't know that it is a dream. In the same way, because of the Avarana Shakti, because of the wheeling power, because of the concealing power of Maya, Atma gets hidden, Atma gets eclipsed like sun getting eclipsed by Rahu. But the Dakshinamurti, because of his teaching, Guru is Dakshinamurti Swarupam. Guru, because of his teaching, he doesn't do anything. he will just wake up the dreaming person. If the person dreams, if in the person dreams a lion is chasing the person, what should the friend be doing? Two people are sleeping. If the person is, normally when we have bad dreams, we will blabber, right, in the dream. In the person is dreaming, hey, lion, 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 please help me, please help me. The person who dreams is shouting this. What should be the person who is sleeping next to him do? He cannot go he cannot go after the dream lion, because the lion is in dreams and this person is waking up. All this person has to do is take some water, sprinkle on to this person's face, sprinkle on to the dreamer's face, so that the dreamer can wake up. In the same way, the guru who has already waken up to the higher truth. In the case of dream, there is a physical process of waking up happens, but in the process of Vedantic teaching, there is no physical process of waking up happens. It is an intellectual process. The guru who has already woken up to the higher truth will awake the dreamer, will awake the samsari, so that the samsari becomes enlightened. To that guru, to that Dakshinamurti, I offer my namaskaras. Tasmai Shri Gurumurtaye Namayidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye, says Acharyal in the Dakshinamurti Stotram. Here, the first power of Maya, that is the Avarana Shakti of Maya, is being talked about. But the problem doesn't end with Avarana Shakti. If we had just the Avarana Shakti, in fact, there won't be any problem, because when we are dreaming, when we are deep sleep, when we are in the deep sleep state, we still have the Avarana Shakti. We don't know our real Atma nature, but we also don't have any samsara. Remember, when we are doing our deep sleep, when we are in the deep sleep state without any dream, we don't feel our body. We don't know, we don't understand ourselves to be this body. I lose my fatherhood. I lose my motherhood. I lose my sonhood. I lose my son in lawhood. I don't have a wife. I don't have a husband. I don't have a son. I don't have a father. I don't have a mother. When I am in my deep sleep state, when I am in my deep sleep state, I don't have anyone. That is the Avarana Shakti. There, the problem is not there, but the problem comes when you project on something which you are not. And that is what next topic is going to be about, the Vikshepa Shakti of Atman, the projection power of Maya. Vikshepa Shakti of Maya, the projection Shakti of Maya. The problem is twofold. I don't know my real nature, that is the Avarana Shakti. But more importantly, I consider myself as something I am not. I consider this body as my own self. That is the cause of bigger samsara, and that is caused by Vikshepa Shakti. We are going to see that in the next class. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.